All right, let's dive into something that's on, well, pretty much everyone's mind. Wealth. Not just making a living, but actually building real, lasting financial freedom. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful framework for this, based on the work of Scott Galloway, called the Algebra of Wealth. I mean, it's a question you've probably asked yourself a million times, right? You're working hard, you're smart, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. But that goal of real financial security just always feels out of reach. So, what's the big secret? Well, here's the thing. According to this way of thinking, it's not some big secret that's only for a lucky few. The path to building wealth, it's actually a formula. It's like a code for how modern capitalism works. And the best part is, once you understand the code, you can start using it to your advantage. So let's get right into it. Let's crack that code. This is the wealth equation. And here it is, the formula itself. It all starts with the foundation. Focus, that's your base. But then it gets absolutely supercharged by three multipliers: discipline, time, and diversification. Now, because these are multipliers, they don't just add to your wealth, they grow it exponentially. And honestly, that right there is the key to the whole thing. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, with the part of the equation that actually generates your income in the first place: focus. You know, we've all heard that advice 1,000 times: follow your passion. But Galloway argues that for a lot of people, that's actually a trap. See, passion can come and go, and a lot of the time, the thing you're passionate about is the same thing everyone else is passionate about, which makes it insanely competitive. Instead, he says, follow your talent. Find the thing that you are uniquely good at. Because being successful at your talent, that's durable. And guess what? That success, that feeling of mastery, that's what often turns your talent into your passion. So, okay, how do you actually find this focus? Well, it's a process, right? You got to try new things, experiment a little, to even figure out what your talents are. Then, and this is crucial, you have to see where that talent meets what the market actually needs and will pay for. This means you want to be in a growing field, a sunrise industry like AI or clean energy, not a shrinking one. And through all of this, there's one skill that makes everything better: communication. Seriously, being able to clearly share your ideas is a total game changer, no matter what you do. Okay, so you've found your focus, you're starting to earn a good income. Great. But that's just step one. Now we get to our first multiplier: having the discipline to keep and grow that money. Now, Galloway uses a specific word for this: stoicism. He doesn't just mean it in the old philosophical sense. He's talking about a kind of financial discipline. It's about separating your emotions from your money. It means you don't go on a spending spree when the market is hot, and you don't panic sell everything when it dips. It's all about building a steady, rational, and consistent approach to your finances. So how do we actually do this? Well, it breaks down into a few really clear actions. First, you've got to focus only on what you can control, which is your savings rate, not the entire global economy. The easiest trick for this? Automation. Set up those automatic transfers and forget about them. Next, and this is a big one, you have to fight that urge to spend more every time you get a raise. And finally, think about who you surround yourself with. Being part of a community that shares and supports your financial goals makes a huge difference. All right, with that discipline locked in, we can now bring in the single most powerful force in the entire financial universe: time. This, my friends, is the accelerator. You want to see the power of time? Just look at the magic of compound interest on this chart. If you start investing consistently at age 25, you could have almost $2 million by the time you retire. But if you wait just 5 years and start at 30, that final number drops to 1.4 million. Let that sink in. A 5-year delay could cost you more than $500,000. That is the unbelievable power of getting started early. So the message here is ridiculously simple: do not wait. As we just saw, time is literally the most valuable asset you have in this entire equation. And here's the kicker: if you're not investing, you're actually losing money. Why? One word: inflation. With average inflation around 2 to 3% a year, every single dollar you have just sitting in a bank account is losing its buying power day after day. So investing isn't just about getting rich, it's about not getting poorer. So, you're saving with discipline, you've started early to harness the power of time, but how do you protect your money while it's growing? Well, that brings us to our final multiplier, which really acts as a shield for your wealth: diversification.
Look, we've all felt that temptation, right? The idea of getting rich fast by putting all our money on one hot stock or some new crypto. But that's called concentration. And frankly, it's a lot closer to gambling than it is to investing. The real durable path to wealth is diversification. Yeah, it might feel boring compared to a moonshot bet, but it's what manages your risk and protects you from losing everything.
So, what does one of these boring but super effective portfolios actually look like? Well, for most people, the absolute core of it, the bedrock, should be in passive, low cost things like index funds and ETFs. These automatically spread your money out for you. Then you might add other assets like real estate. But notice how small that last slice is. Active investments, like picking your own stocks, that's for learning, for experimenting, not for betting your entire future on.
So let's just run through the key rules. The big one, of course, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make your core investments automated and passive. If you want to play around with riskier stuff, just use a small amount of money you could truly afford to lose. And always, always keep an eye on taxes and fees, because they will eat away at your returns. Oh, and remember, buying a home is a huge life decision first and an investment second. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The whole point of this strategy isn't to buy a lottery ticket and hope you win. The point is to build a system that gets you to wealth with a very high degree of certainty over time.
And that brings us to maybe the most important question of all. Once you have this whole equation working for you, what's the point? What is all this wealth really for?
Because true wealth, it isn't just about having the biggest number possible in your bank account. It's about reaching that point where your passive income, the money your investments make for you, is enough to cover all your expenses. It's the security of knowing you can care for yourself and your loved ones. And maybe most importantly, it's the freedom to choose how you spend your most precious resource, your time. Ultimately, that's the real finish line. It's not about having the most stuff. It's about getting to a place where you have to worry about money the least. That's financial freedom. So let's just bring it all back to the formula one last time. You start with focus to earn your income. Then you multiply that income with the discipline to save it, the time to let it compound, and the diversification to protect it. That right there is the algebra of wealth. Look, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a practical toolkit. It's a set of instructions. So the only real question left is the one you have to answer for yourself. Now that you have the equation, what are you going to build with it?